Freedom is something we all thrive on, but throughout history, there have been numerous people who have tried to interfere with human liberty. Some were successful, others weren't. But one ego-driven lunatic drove his nation into an endless downward spiral, causing the death and suffering of millions. Mao Zedong was the chairman of the Communist Party of China, and he ruled from 1945 until his death about 30 years later. His ideology was based on Leninism and Marxism, and was supposed to close the gap between the lower and middle class and make everyone economically equal. While he was somewhat successful at getting rid of the lower class, he didn't exactly achieve it in the way people would have liked. First, he forced poor Chinese farmers to switch from farming to making steel in their backyards, which is basically impossible. He also believed sparrows were causing agricultural losses because they were eating planted seeds, so he ordered everyone to kill all of these birds by any means. However, someone forgot to tell him that sparrows also ate locusts. Locusts are grasshoppers that feast on grains, and the only thing preventing them from swarming the fields were the sparrows. As the sparrows were killed off, the grasshoppers received a free pass to the Chinese fields, and so began the plague. Peasants had to give huge amounts of their harvest to the government, so after the government took its cut, the farmers were left with almost nothing, since there was hardly anything to begin with. This resulted in 38 million people starving to death in less than 3 years. Ironically, this policy was referred to as the Great Leap Forward. Most dictators believe they are superior to their people, and they don't like receiving advice from anyone. That's why it surprised everyone when he launched a campaign asking all the intellectuals of China to send him letters with constructive criticism of his system, as long as it offered advice and solutions to past problems. Sounds fair, right? Well, after receiving millions of letters, his ego was so hurt that he went back on his word and decided to launch a campaign against those critics. The luckier critics were only forbidden to write ever again or forced to get re-educated. The less lucky ones were sent to labor camps, or even executed. Even some of the well-renowned members of his own party started to doubt his questionable policies, so he retaliated by banishing them from their homes. Eventually, he started a war against all intelligent people because he believed that he was the only intelligent person to ever walk the earth, and nobody else could ever be on his level. Calling yourself intellectual became a direct insult to him. He said that anyone else who claims to be as smart was a direct threat to the government, so he started closing down universities and sent professors and students to work in labor camps so they could also get re-educated. And the fun doesn't stop there. In 1994, his personal doctor published a book which takes us deeper into the dictator's personal life. According to the book, Mao never bathed, brushed his teeth, or washed his hands. He stopped having sex with his wife in the late 60s and started sleeping with young, often underage girls instead, because he believed that having sex with virgins would prolong his life. He ended up catching an STD by a parasite called trichomoniasis. This disease usually didn't cause any harm to the male carriers. However, it definitely caused a lot of pain to female carriers. Since he was a sociopath, he didn't mind spreading it and infecting hundreds of women. Instead of being enraged, the infected women actually viewed it as a badge of honor and celebrated. And if that isn't bad enough, many of their modern-day descendants are still so brainwashed that they believe Mao Zedong was a hero, and they think it's unacceptable for you to say a single bad word about him. This narcissistic man showed us how easy it is to manipulate the masses and proved that a single person can destroy the most populated country on Earth.